update and the other concussion plan. I'm sorry, I forgot. Thank you. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I'll go through the whole. Here's what I got. Mario and Cole will not practice on vet days, and Cole a little bit of both. And then Spencer will be limited. Tremaine will not practice with a hamstring. Jaquan, Taryn, and Dawson will be limited. And then Zach will not practice. He's in the protocol right now with the concussion. So.
Sharon's out of the protocol.
I don't know that he's out. He's working through it.
Dawson Knox, I'm sorry, Coach, did you say him? I'm not sure. Is he going to practice Dawson?
Limited. Yeah.
What happened with Tremaine? What did that?
Yeah, Jacksonville game. So we're just getting, we're getting more information on it. Ongoing. It's an ongoing thing. So we're just trying to figure out where that is and what he's going to look like for this week. So.
Is it still the ribs for Cole? Like the other thing?
Yeah, and his vet day too. Yeah.
Did you decipher anything from the film in terms of the run game? I know you spoke about it on Monday, but it's
Yeah.
down the road. Anything new that you can share with what might be some of the problems there?
Yeah, I mean, just give me the benefit of the doubt on the strategy piece of it. So I don't want to get too far down that road, and but it is something that we need to do and do better if we want to be the team that we're trying to become. And so I think I can leave it at that.
Have you noticed, Sean, in the last few games that the defenses are not respecting your run, and that maybe is creating more coverage problems in the back for you guys?
Well, I don't think it's just been Sal the last couple of games. Start the first game. Look at that film. So go back to last year. At the end of the season, in particular. So yeah, that's where we're at.
Did you think you'd be a little further along in that area at this point in the season? Or at least, I guess ideally.
I thought, yeah. I mean, simply said yes. I thought we'd be further along. I thought that we would have progressed in that area.
Is the run game's issues reflected on Josh's numbers where he's throwing more times, but for fewer yards this season?
Give me that again, John. I'm sorry.
Is the run game struggles and a reflection of how Josh is making more attempts this season for fewer yards?
So you're asking, just so I answer your question the right way here. So you're asking, is the run game's issues because Josh is throwing?
No, I'm sorry. It's the other way. Is Josh throwing more for fewer yards because of the run game struggles, or is that part of a reflection of what defenses are doing? He seems to be. He's got 40-plus attempts, and he's not top 300 yards in, I think, a couple of them.
Yeah, well, here's what I think, and again, without getting too strategy based here, it's everything works together, right? Complementary football. You stay on one side of the ball. Stopping the run helps to stop the pass. So it all fits together and has to work together. So there are some specifics in that, John, with respect to your question, but you got to play a certain way in this league, and that's how we have to play.
Would you consider this being a crisis on offense?
No, good teams make adjustments.
I know you pay attention to a lot
So,
of trends.
I'm sorry. No, I was just going to say good teams make adjustments, and that's what you have to do every season. And things change, and you have to continue to adjust as things ebb and flow, and that's what good teams do.
Sorry, John. I know you pay attention to a lot of trends around the league. It seems to me, just analyzing and watching the league, there is a trend of defensive coordinators staying a little bit, keeping everything in front of them. They're kind of maybe tired of these big-time quarterbacks and numbers that have been put up on them the last several years. Do you see that as something happening around the league too, not just against your team, where defenses are trying to say we're tired of it. We're keeping everything in front of us and making everybody work.
Well, I think certain teams get highlighted more than others, and because of that, you're seeing some of that with maybe those teams. But I think generally speaking, the game changes in a lot of ways, but at the same time, the game stays the same. And in terms of what won in certain realms of the game when Steve Tasker was playing, right? It really hasn't changed, and so you cannot lose sight of the core aspects of the game of football.
It is cyclical in a lot of ways, though, too, right, Sean? I mean, where one trend starts on offense, the defense counters, you go back to a different trend on up, and it almost goes back to what it was 20 years ago, and it's very cyclical in that regard sometimes.
Well, yeah, I mean, probably so. That's to me the fascinating part of the industry that we're in is what's the next thing that's out there, but even that next thing is you still have to have this other piece, that other piece of the foundation, because you can't do certain things, whatever you're trying to do, run, pass, if you don't have these certain traits before that.
It's announced that Mike White's going to start at quarterback on Sunday, and it won't be Zach Wilson. I don't know, does that help you a little bit, knowing that you know exactly who's going to be the starting quarterback already this week?
I mean, we control what we can control, and so the information's out there. That's what they announced, and it's kind of honestly the way we thought it would go. So that's kind of the way we've been working all week to this point, Josh.
What do you see with him so far on tape? I know
Yeah.
It's a limited sample size.
Yeah, I mean, you watched the Bengals game, and obviously you got hurt in a short opportunity in the Colts game. But you watched that Bengals game against a good football team, a good defense, and they went right down the field multiple times and won it at the end, I believe. So, good player.
What do you think about your depth on the offensive line? And if Spencer were to miss another game, do you envision the same 5 guys out there as last week?
I don't want to go there. I'm confident in our offensive line. I'm confident. I know the questions have been mainly about our offense. I'm confident in our offense. And so that's where we're at. I don't want to get into kind of projections at this point because that's not reality right now.
Sean, when you talk about those traits, those traits that go back to Tasker's years and beyond, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you stress a physical presence on Monday. Is that what you're referring to, a physicalness?
That's one piece, and I'm not just saying for the offense. I'm just saying you have to have. That's a piece that the game of football hasn't changed that way, right? I mean, it was physical. You have to be physical. When Steve played, and Lee said before that, and since that time, that's one piece of many that will never change, and that's the game of football, and that's a necessary part of it. So it's that and other things that, again, without getting into that area, that we have to continue to grow in as a football team.
When you have as jarring a loss as this past one was, how difficult is it to not make wholesale changes and to tinker too much with what has gotten you to this point?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're referring to personnel, Joe.
Strategy.
Yeah, I mean, I can promise you that adjustments are being made, and like I said earlier, whether you see them or not, that's what good teams do. Whether there's it's just every season you've got to continue to adjust with the team you have. This team is running its own race. Last season was last season. That team ran its own race. 2017 ran its own. So the challenges this season may be a little bit different than the challenges last season. But as coaches, that's what we get paid to do, is to adjust, try and stay out in front of things the best you can, and that's what my teammates, these players, these coaches look to me and for me to do, and that's what we're doing.
Sean, Dion obviously went through a lot this summer. In your view, is he back to being the player that you guys invested in as your franchise left tackle at this point?
At times. Yeah, Jay, at times. Looking for more consistency. He knows that. Down in and down out. So, listen, that's a tough position to play, right? I mean, you're usually going up against maybe the best pass rusher. You're the left tackle protecting the blind side of the quarterback. So there's going to be some plays where he gets them. There's going to be some plays where they get him. Just being realistic about it. That said, it's he knows that there's more in there, and that's what we're looking for.
I recognize that we would probably have to ask him, but in your conversations with him, physically, do you believe that he is beyond what he went through this summer with the?
Yes, I believe. Yeah, Jay, I believe that. Yeah.
Sean, I think it's the last 4 games, 39 penalties. I mean, where do you fall on that? I mean, they're out there making the penalties, but
Yeah.
I know you're going to probably take some of the blame, but that's got to be something that has to be changed, right?
Absolutely. I've mentioned before specifically, and I haven't changed on this, is the ones that are pre-snap, the ones that are post-whistle, which we had a few of those last week, too many, those are non-negotiables. They don't fly here. And the ones that are aggressive penalties, I can at least deal with as long as I see us working, moving our feet, trying to get in good position, straining with our hands inside. I can live with some of those. I mean, some of those are going to get called because we're trying to play aggressive. But that's really where I am on it, and the players know. I think there's great clarity on what I expect in that area, and that is, to me, that is a reflection on me, and I've shared that with the team. And that's not how I go about my routine in terms of the discipline part. Like that's one of the things that I'm very strong on.
You've always referenced adversity, and teams go through it, through a game, through a season, through whatever. Not to say that you want this adversity to be happening as it's happening right now, but do you, in some ways, are you eager to see how this team responds, coming out of this little stretch?
Yeah, I mean, there's adversity every year, so every team gets tested, and as I said before as well, it's a test every season of how long a group of people, men and women, can stay together when whatever it is, tries to pull you apart. And so, whether it's Steve's team, again, referring to Coach Levy, said, hey, crossing another river or whatever that analogy, that's real. You're trying to cross another river every week, right? And it's how you going to go about it this week. And so it's no season is clean. You want it to be, but the reality of it is no season is clean in a straight line. So you got to stay with it. And I learned that being under Andy Reid for years.
Sean, I apologize. It's a little bit of an off-topic,
Yep.
but the nomination for the Salute to Service Award, why is that something that means a lot to you, and what did getting that recognition mean?
Yeah, it's an incredible honor to be recognized, and I've got quite a few friends in the military, and when they saw that, they were reaching out to me to give me congratulations, and I turned it around and I said, really, it's the guys that are on that text strand, my buddies that I referenced that are in the military serving. It's everyone out there that serves our community, our country, that deserves the credit. Part of what I've tried to do is to shine the spotlight on them using the platform that I have, quite honestly.
Knowing that this might happen anyways, given what Zach's situation could be, but is it maybe time to, even if that wasn't the case, to maybe give Breida a chance? He changes things up, give your running game a different look. Is that something maybe you consider?
Yeah, we've talked. We'll see how it goes this week, so.